This is the Sports Palace in Antwerp, Belgium. And in a short time, 17,000 people will fill these seats to witness a meeting of the top two players in the world of tennis. As USA Sports presents the final of the European Champions Championship. Ivan Lendl, in top form, at the peak of his remarkable career, and John McEnroe, 3 times a Wimbledon champion, 4 times a U.S. Open champion, currently ranked number 2 in the world, meeting once again in the final of a major tournament. Good evening, everybody. I'm Barry McKay at the Sports Palace, and to my right, about 2.5 feet, is certainly one of the most gorgeous trophies in all of sports. It is worth a cool $1 million. There are 1,420 diamonds inlaid in a beautiful gold tennis racket. And if Ivan Lendl wins this tournament tonight for the 3rd time, he will qualify to walk away with that racket. You have to win this tournament 3 times over a 5-year period. John McEnroe would love to see this racket stay right in this heavily secured laminated case, because if he wins tonight, he has 2 legs up and next year could come back and take away this gorgeous trophy. With me tonight, Donald Dell, of course, who knows these players very well. Donald, it's been a great rivalry. Tell us a little bit about McEnroe and Lendl.
Well, Barry, they've played 29 times. McEnroe has won 16, Lendl 13, and it's sort of been a streaky, topsy-turvy kind of relationship. For 18 months back there in 1981 through the Masters of '83, Lendl won 8 consecutive times, really dominated. Then suddenly at Philadelphia, January of '83, McEnroe changed the whole style of play, started chipping and coming in, attacking on every ball, and he won the next 8 out of their 9 meetings over the next 18 months. Suddenly we get into 1985. They've played 6 times, and guess what? Each has won 3 times this year. McEnroe dominating in the Volvo International and the Canadian Open back-to-back, and Lendl beating him in that big upset at the U.S. Open finals 1 month ago. So they really are tremendously evenly matched.
Donald, that's all history coming into this match. As we both know, when you play a big one like tonight, you don't think about the past. What about tonight's match? What do you look for?
Well, I think there's 2 factors. Number one, McEnroe, a tremendous competitor, Barry. He would never have been as good as long as he is if he didn't really want to win matches, and he wants to win tonight. Secondly, Lendl's going to have the added pressure of that little trophy you just started talking about, the Diamonds Cup, which is $1 million sort of on the side. It's like a side bet. But that's going to be a factor, and it's certainly going to play on his mind as the match unfolds. I think McEnroe is the best server indoors I've ever seen in tennis, and he backs it up with a great volley. Lendl is going to have to return well right from the start of the match. And remember, it's a 5-set match, best 3 out of 5, and so McEnroe to win will have to serve well a long time.
Well, we're looking forward to a great final tonight, the 30th meeting between John McEnroe and Ivan Lendl. And we're going to have it for you right here from the Sports Palace on USA from Antwerp, Belgium. Back at the Sports Palace in Antwerp, Belgium, everyone in readiness for this final. An empty court, but very shortly the 2 players will emerge. And here they come. Ivan Lendl, the defending champion, number 1 in the world, and John P. McEnroe, currently number 2 in the world.
A lot of people standing here, Barry, as they come in.
European Championship 1985. Final.
And so we're ready for a classic confrontation as Ivan Lendl is introduced. The 30th meeting between Lendl and McEnroe. A lot of atmosphere tonight, Donald, in this Sports Palace in Antwerp.
Well, it's interesting, Barry, when they walked out, they didn't come side to side, which is your normal approach. One was in front of the other by about 6 yards. Lendl in a hurry to get out there, both very solemn looking, no smiles.
Both players walking out rather slowly here as Lendl tries to get things going. Ivan Lendl, born in Ostrava, Czechoslovakia, 25 years old, currently living in Greenwich, Connecticut, and ranked number 1 in the world on the ATP computer.
You know, Barry, watching Lendl there warm up, the forehand side is really his weapon. Many feel he's got one of the great shots in tennis on the forehand. He can hurt you from anywhere. He's tried to improve his backhand by getting quicker and getting to the ball sooner because he has a longer swing, more margin of error there on the backhand side. Watching him in the rallies, you'll see how he's changing grips from forehand to backhand. He's changing each time. He normally runs with his backhand grip because he has more confidence in the forehand side. So he's more prepared for his weaker side.
Ivan Lendl actually had a fairly easy time getting in here to the finals. Got a bye in the first round, beat Casal in straight sets from Spain in the second round. Then LeConte with the default there in the quarterfinals, and yesterday a win over Anders Gerrard from Sweden. And we saw that match, and it was a fairly easy match for Lendl.
Lendl dominated last night, and I was surprised that he won so quickly. Gerrard's a good player, but he wasn't in that match, in a different league.
John P. McEnroe, born in New York City, New York, actually lives in New York City, New York, and he was born in Wiesbaden, Germany, when his father was in the Air Force over there. 26 years old, currently ranked #2 in the world. And John says to everybody that he doesn't seem to mind being ranked #2. Donald, we said it earlier. I don't think so. I think he wants to be the best player in the world.
Well, I think he's dominated the rankings. He's been #1 the last 4 years. That's a fantastic achievement. Lendl, on the other hand, has been #2, so he's been dying to get to #1. And they're really basing that, I think, not just on the computer, but on the fact that Lendl won the U.S. Open a month ago, really about 6 weeks ago now, in early September. And to get to be #1 in the world, John McEnroe knows he's got to beat this guy, Ivan Lendl.
Interesting route to the final. John got a bye in the first round, and then Pavel Slozil he defeated in the second round easily, 6-2, 6-1. He beat Mark Dixon from the United States in straight sets in a very easy match in the quarterfinals. And then yesterday, that good match against Boris Becker. He won it in straight sets, 6-3, 6-4. And Donald, you talked to both players after the match, and there was no love lost between those two guys yesterday.
Well, it was kind of interesting. There's a lot of tension developing here because Lendl said that in order for him to win this match today, and he's thinking a lot about that trophy because he's got $1 million sitting over on the side of the court in diamonds that he can retire. Lendl felt he has to return well against John to beat him. It's not just simply hitting winners and forehands and backhands. He's got to return his serve. And there is the Diamonds Cup. 1,420 diamonds inlaid in 18-karat gold, created really conceptually by 14 jewelers here in the Antwerp area and donated to this great championship. The rules say you have to win it 3 times out of 5 years in order to retire it, which is interesting, Barry, because if McEnroe could beat Lendl today, he would then be tied with Lendl 2-2, and the kickoff, the decider, would be next year.
Well, it's a gorgeous trophy. We talked about it earlier, and it is a valuable-looking trophy. So there you see them, both players taking their last warm-up serves, and we're going to pause now from a word from your local cable systems.